In addition to having the biggest collection of traffic cones, Andrew Zawacki is an author, translator, and editor. With over 137 different traffic cones and more than 15 books, chapbooks, and anthologies, Zawacki is a busy man in Georgia. His most recent book, Videotape, is one of the ones I mentioned, available right back there. So let's welcome Andrew.
One of me stuttered, and one of me broke, and one of me tried to fasten a line to one of me untying it from me. One of me watched a fisherman haul a sand shark from the breaker, while another was already years later, returned to where a local man baited for striper but landed a shark. One of me sat under olivine clouds, clouds of cerise, a courtesan sky. And one of me sunned himself as a child, imagining a fish rod turned fermata. One waved a sash of cornflower blue, one heard a windmill, one heard the wind. One waved goodbye to an imminent leftover love. And one strolled barefoot and sunburnt across the nickel inhibitions of afternoon, tossing amber bottles at a smoke tree, the gun lake, swimming toward his family on the dock as twilight fell, as the same boy stayed behind to look at him swim. One believed a father could be killed by falling rock, and one woke up to find he'd only dreamt, although his father was dead, and one believed in a beautiful house not built by any hand. One promised nothing would break, and nothing did, and one saw breaking everywhere, and could not say what he saw. I'm delighted to be reading here. I've been reading at a number of really great bookstores to which I add Malvern Books. I've never looked in from a parking lot and seen like a wall of green integer titles. Like makes me panic because I can't buy them all or read them all. But it's great to be here. I put this in the run of like Tight Books in Toronto and Avid Books in Athens, Georgia. I was at Prairie Lights last week, Open Books in Seattle. This is like definitely on the trail now of like great poetry, et cetera, bookstores. And it's nice to meet all of you. It's great to be on the road with my friend Joshua Edwards and to read with Fernando and Lauren. And I'm really glad to see Linus, a friend from the Chicago days going back like a decade. I hate to say it, and if I may, I was just thinking about it as I sat back down that like among the many things I enjoyed about seeing you and talking with you was the sense that you always looked a little lost wandering around the halls, but what this meant was that there were two of us and not just me, you know, so I feel like it took one to know one in a way. But I'm really glad you're here and it's nice to see you again and to reconnect over poetry. And raffle, but I'm sorry I didn't win anything, so I might just steal the state coasters. So I have this book called Videotape, apropos Lauren's question, do you know what a videotape is if I say that word? Like some of you are like around for this, or is this like a totally... and it's a book-length poem, so it's a little bit difficult to excerpt from, but I've done my best to pull out some pieces that I think hang a little better together than some of the others, and it's sort of obsessively organized according to eights, so I've picked out 8 pieces, and they don't have numbers in the book, but I'll give them numbers tonight so that you know where you are in this short reading. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's relatively humorless, so I'm not apologizing. I'm just, you know, warning you that the laughing stops now. And I won't stop between sections or anything, so this will constitute the arc of the rest of it. But thanks again, Tyler, for having us. It's really awesome to be here. Videotape 1. Grayscale breath on a fluid field with lo-fi rain patter, petrol blue. A 60-watt sun unscrewed from the woebegone sky. Riprap and coal slurries, dragline and luss. What phosphorus is a semaphore for? Silk-like in its acoustic shadows, louver away or stay when I move. Figures astray from the mercury dark, shatterproofless, shutterproofless, image noise stressing each contour to strass, as if the margins were swarming with centers or cinders, echoes to the eye, or Cinderella's slipper blown of polyvinyl butyrol and laminated glass. Country comes from contra, opposed, land spread out over against the observer. The reservoir cast in carnadine by the gift of a cardinal, and cliff fall and thaw water, the Alleghenies in gun cotton fog, isleted air paired baby aspirin white. Magnolia flack at the forest edge, and a burned CD skipping. 2. To accord the places their flinty names, Casadega, Cheektowaga, exit 54 to East Aurora toward West Seneca. The Lackawanna coal mine shafts, closed as Cayuga is cobalt and still. And all the painted pills that fall, jerry-rigged and jejune in June, steeled within a girder of welded steel. So push came and shove came, fast from the meadows, the ex-movieplex, each raindrop a prism, its spectrum a trick of machine. At ISO 800 at night, Dixie's a garden of bayonet hoods, Nikon HB 35, 72 millimeters, blossoming black. As the heavens are pissing a stop bath, and borax has grimed the fog, Spanish moss teinté avec du thé. Shadows gelded amber under a damsel moon, a haint is pausing there, and the water is wide. 3. Landfall through the lens of a Leica M4. Ball and burlap Japanese maples, arthritic plaint of an idling rig, the platelet clouds in Arctic upside down and thawing out. In post-consumer Pennsylvania, where snow like a rose knows no why, a northern cardinal taut in F2 is perched on a larch's branch. It's scarlet, not a quasar, but a blur of opera. Muted by a minor key, the sleet in 4-pin, 6-pin firewire. A Venn diagram mars the armor of the water. I'm getting used to it, not getting used to it, in the upturned leaves of the anise tree. A butte is fog to phase shift, neige et verglas, vigilance orange, as ringlets on a lake return to lake. 4. As if to render a center peripheral, we sonared it out of insomnia in branches kvetching the roof. A midnight train at 1 in the morning, hectoring west to catch its future up. And later, through the crêpe de chine and EKG of a fast-gelling rain, its fracas and intercom on the fritz. The lever de soleil was a radiator coil inside a cloud, and trees crashing under the white, wet weight. A folded harmonics, the transepts of air, cool in a dimmer switch sundown, the seraphim shimmer of summer auguring off. Hambone up in the tamaracks, vinyl static of matches in a dive bar box. The center is liquid, lake-like. Lundi 23/6/08, 17h04, the world exists to end up on DVD. 5. On a back road of Bamako La Coquette, sunset a Coleman pack-away lantern, its 4D alkaline batteries shot. A little kid tapping a skinny tire with a stick, then he stopped. Kyrielle of bulbuls bickering, brush fire smoke in a laterite pit. I saw that he was pointing, not what he was pointing at. Locust buzz of a scuzzy lamp in a budget parking lot. The syntax of where I stand is where I stand. The evergreens in Pennsylvania are gray beneath the ever-ready sun. Petals are pleats of starlight, palaces of wind. An olivier sways in a fickle breeze, as if snow flurried up from the ground. 6. Cell tower beacon, a red boutonniere, Senancarova on the hook with Senanc, and flourishing through this gunite, perishing world, a freesia fitted with aerofoils that turn in the wind and turn the wind to kilowatt hours to power the flower forth. A pop can skyline with BB holes, its neon swarming, corona of shale, smog a lie that squeegees the city in streaks. The center, ici, is elsewhere's edge. Negative number AL7, 7202, droplets rivet a loading dock like chandeliers cut loose, and a pencil of menthol cigarette smoke, a pastor genie crashing into the fray. That word was bastard, not pastored. It's a weird slip, sorry. 7. Itinerant in passenger, pace car stuck in a petri dish. What is it, if not gravity, that braises the gloaming to you? A fake Baalbek at the back of the mind, at rest at the speed of our do-si-do sun. And how many billet-doux have you writ? How many bullets unloaded or bit out here along this old reckoner's route, turning round a turning cage like a cubist Rubik's Cube? That dough I blew on slow horses, you say, they rolled me for the diamond and the gun. Non-ontology. Birches a cello glass to the pasture, lake-lit yttrium. One thinks of an image made in the image and likeness of images. Or the frozen sun, its padabasque, its ruined passageways. Abjad scripture of contrail and distrail, the planet is enhaloed with holes. Andscape, endscape, in, e. 8. Snowwork and a CGI of blue cineraria, as if on an uninhabited plain. Vanadium clouds through fiberglass passages, their forests of freon, their rheostat trees, branches accidents grotesque, to skiffle the telecom, tar paper leaves, the lake infernal method made by ice and kick-your-ass northwesterlies. As nitric nightfall scours the clearing, air, the event horizon of air, I see everything disappearing, and there is no elsewhere here. A viewer is never not turned away from someone somewhere else, the focus of a separate inquiry. Sun on the shoals, amaranthine. The Jezebel trees, tall, tree-esque. Throw as the distance an image appears, that light will illumine an object. If only I could see a landscape as it is when I am not there. Thanks a lot for listening.